Hello, everyone, again. I think we already said hello to you, and I don't know how many already joined. Mr. Nawaz, just let me allow me to have the full page here.
Yes, sir. There is permission from me.
Yes, okay. I'm just trying to go to full page instead of okay. So can you see my slides?
Yes, yes, yes. Please continue.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, I think you all know me who I am, so I don't need to introduce myself. But for someone who just joined me, Dr. Parvin Zarrin, the president of Bioquantum Academy and founder of Integrative Medicine Nutrition, and also founder of Homeopathy Nutrition Clinic. So I've been practicing for more than 2 decades in Canada. All my education took place in Canada, and all my practice. I'm educator, lecturer, and I'm also author of quantum anti-aging book. So there is a kind of a story behind what's happening in my form of practice. That at first I was a nutritionist, then I wanted to get to continue education, but anti-aging, longevity, regeneration was my greatest interest at all times. And I always wanted to know more about it, that why people so aging, why people regenerating, what's happening. Comparing people from this year to next year is just brought up so much questions to me, that what's happening in people's body, that they age so quickly and so fast. So they made me, instead of going for my master's, go to the aesthetic schools and specializing on a skincare and on anti-aging specifically. So then I combined that together, and I practiced for a while, and then I became a homeopath, then continued, and I got my PhD on homeopathy and all those things. But and aging and anti-aging always been my greatest interest, to understand why people degenerating, why people are not, instead of regeneration, they go through degeneration. So that's why and I'm happy that today's the topic is allowing me to talk about it. I think in some other conferences I had presentations, but it's good to repeat it again. So there is also I would like to tell you that that would be a different format today. So during my practice, as I said, I combined all my modalities together to really work on degenerations at the cellular level. So I created a program, my clinic, my practice, which I call it in my book, Quantum Anti-Aging book, I call it Inside Out and Outside In. So I work on both parts through my practice. And for the inside out, I combined in orthomolecular nutrition, therapeutic nutrition, holistic nutrition, and homeopathic medicine, homotoxicology, gemotherapy, and all those modalities that I practice. And also for outside in, I try to find the most botanical, most natural products in order to recommend people to use them for their home care regimen and also for their clinical treatments. And then I found that the best products, they can have some form of essential oils in them. So at this point, me and my colleague, Dr. Steve Chiola in Switzerland, we came up with a course together, created a course that I teach inside out, that he's teaching outside in. So he's going to talk about it more. And I'm so delighted to be, again, the part of 6th global webinar on traditional integrative medicine. And I use quantum anti-aging, or generally anti-aging, synonymously to regeneration and longevity. and I talk about the human body natural regeneration process and my integrated approach. When I talk about my integrated approach, is all about the modalities that I practice in my, I created it. So I elaborated about whatever I'm talking about today in my book, but it's always hard to kind of summarize that and fit it into just 1 hour. But I hope that I'm not going to miss some of my major points. So let's get started. As I said, I use quantum anti-age synonymously to regeneration and longevity in my presentation because it's more used in the medical arena and also much familiar term to the public. I use the term regeneration and longevity mostly for the biological process of anti-aging in general. So that explains that. My presentation is not just anti-wrinkle, but is anti-internal degeneration. So I wrote my book, as I mentioned, Quantum Anti-Aging, and talk a lot about regeneration and longevity in the very simplest way to be clearly understood by everyone with different level of education and background. This book is based on my clinical approach about the holistic concept of health and healing, cellular regeneration, and renewal process, or simply anti-aging or longevity. I would like to have a disclaimer statement here because I have presenting this talk in several settings from different medical backgrounds. And I would like to just mention my disclaimer that I do not claim that human being is immortal. So definitely we are mortal entity. From the moment of birth, it will be a moment of death. So there is no one can escape from that. So my presentation refers to the period between natural birth period to natural death period. So artificial degeneration or death is out of the scope of my practice and knowledge, because I always talk about the weakening and degeneration that naturally happens in human body follows by regeneration. But artificial degeneration that comes from outside, and this is not in my scope of my practice. So natural death is the continuation of life, is whole different ballgame, whole different philosophy. I can talk about it, that death is part of life, is the continuation, but it does not fit into my talk today. And I'm not claiming that nobody gets sick. There is always a sickness, it's part of life. Because a human body always gets, exposed to different things that, manifest, itself in different parts of the body. But there is always illness, but quick and efficient healing, recovery, and regeneration. I'm not claiming there is no structural changes, such as a 70 years old or 80 years old is going to stays the same as 20 years, but there were adjusting changes as we grow older. But I claim regeneration and longevity happens in every human being without exception at all times. So degeneration or aging has always been one of the main concerns for human beings throughout the human history. Even though personally, I've invested most of my life on long-term education and medical practice, however, anti-aging longevity has always been my question and greatest interest to find the answer. I've gathered many information through my long-term study practice, teaching, and research, in addition to my own personal experiences, acknowledgement, and awareness about regeneration and longevity, which I'm going to share with you. Since the beginning of life, people were constantly trying to find a way to look better, feel better, stay youthful and healthy. People always try to find different natural medicines specific to different herbs, vitamins, supplements, beauty and cosmetic products. They even take harmful medications, apply harsh topical treatments or hazardous cosmetic surgery in order to gain youthfulness and look younger. You can never look younger artificially or just topically, because looking healthy and feeling good is the human internal domain that always manifests itself on the outside surface. Therefore, we should always look into the aging phenomena internally from within. Aging is not a natural phenomenon because nature constantly renews itself. The way Earth is renewing itself by turning winter into spring. These natural characteristics is endowed in all living beings in the entire universe without exception. The human body is an absolute part of nature. It follows the same principles and it has no premature aging or artificial death in its nature. Because the human body is constantly going through the cycles of weakening, dormancy, and degeneration, as sometimes we get sick, always followed by awakening, regeneration, and renewal as it is programmed by nature. This characteristic is endowed in all living beings, including the human body by nature. So these are the quotes from my book. And again, nature has no concept of aging or getting old. I'm just trying to use my own terms that I chose to explain. Getting old or aging they're not my terms. Nature has a concept of growing old because growing old is different than getting old. Like yesterday was my birthday, and actually I forgot my birthday, but my son texted me and said, "Happy birthday." I said, "Oh, that's a privilege to grow 1 year older without degenerating," because then all day I was thinking about the year before in the same day. I said, "Oh, I'm feeling much better this year." So whatever I have done, it works for me to regenerate better. So aging is like the process of chronic disease. And it follows the same degeneration process, which is just supposed to be a temporary phase prior to renewal cycle. So if prior to renewal cycle, we go through degeneration for anything happened, according to amount of toxications or the food we ate, or we get sick or whatever, but we don't go through the cycle of renewal regeneration, our body stops at the degeneration states. That's the time that the body ages. So this the degeneration is completely supposed to be temporary. Degeneration always follows regeneration, as I mentioned, in nature without exception, in all plants, animals, and human beings. So as mentioned, the winter always followed by a spring. I never seen winter stays winter for 4 seasons. So is the human body. Aging or constant degeneration is not a natural phenomenon, but unfortunately, is accepted and approved by the mass, by people, as a natural process of life. Because we have to understand what's the aging all about fundamentally before accepting it. Aging or getting old has become a common term to use for growing older as a natural phenomenon. Continued degeneration is caused by ignorance and negligence due to a lack of knowledge and understanding about how the human body operates at all levels and dimensions as a whole. Therefore, they don't seek solution, unlike the other chronic illnesses. As soon as people get cold and flu or any kind of illness, they seek treatments, they see doctors, but they don't ever question why from 6 months ago the body's structure is changing. They feel weaker. They feel internally and externally. They feel that they are getting older. What is it all about? But they never seek to understand it or to finding any solution. Human body's aging process and degeneration is quite similar to the process of chronic disease. This is my view, and I'm not expecting that you guys you're expert in your own field, and I'm not expecting that all of you to agree with me, but this is my view and I share it with you. Aging process is going against the laws of nature and life principles which govern life at all times. The human body is an absolute part of nature and is always going through the renewal cycles according to these laws. The problem is that the whole around the globe, these laws are violated by every single individual because of the wrong teaching, the fake science, fake narratives, and fake system of medicine. Everything is faked around the world. So these laws, the nature laws, being violated, unfortunately. So nature never stops its renewal cycle, so is the human body. The human body goes through the renewal cycle even after death. You know, I've seen and I've heard that even after death, if you don't bury the person or don't cremate it, you see that for 3, 4 to up to 6 months, and I heard even 1 year, the nail and hair is growing. So the body is programmed to grow older. So I would like to differentiate between the two terms that I chose to talk about in regards to my perspective about aging. It's getting old or degenerating and growing old. I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, but getting old is not natural in my view because it's a process of constant degeneration and quick aging and eventually early or artificial death. We have natural death, but artificial death is caused by continued degeneration. It means the physical body is degenerating, mental body is giving up on life challenges, losing intellect, slowing faculty, losing cognition, slowing down in all dimensions, having sedentary lifestyle, and eventually stop exploring the journey of life. But these are all about getting old. Not necessarily when we're growing old, we're going to lose all this. We're going to lose our own life challenges, lose our intellect, lose our faculty, slowing down everything. This is not the purpose of growing old. So that's why people, instead of growing old, they're getting old. Life has no concept of constant degeneration. We see it in nature, we see it in the plants, we see it in everything. Aging or getting old, life has a concept of, as I said, growing old naturally, because this is completely opposite of getting old. We grow old, we learn, we get more knowledge. Structurally, we might change, we get sick, but we constantly regenerate, constantly regenerate. That's about growing old. Growing old is a healthy process of life and happens according to the natural laws and natural principles of life. Exactly opposite of getting old. Growing old means prolonging our lives by having optimum biological functions. At the moment of death, or not, and not necessarily, we have to be completely degenerated in order to die. So that's not my kind of understanding about getting old. So getting old, growing old means having optimum biological functions, keep regenerating, exploring your life wiser to the last moment, expanding your perceptions, getting more knowledge, getting more acknowledgement, being awakened, activating your intelligence, and becoming boundless and limitless and ascending beyond the physical dimension in order to master your life. Whoever dies before mastering your life is a waste of life. So in order to be a full-fledged human being, we have to master our lives to the last breath. So there are, in my perspective, I have two different age. One is chronological age, which is to me is a number age, and the other one is the biological age, which is true age to me, and I use it for myself. I use it for my practice as well. So this number age is just has the purpose of documentations or legal purposes, or some form of social identities. And that's all I use that. Even as I say, yesterday I was 1 year growing older, and I felt, oh my God, the number is going up, but I feel much better. So that the number is nothing to me. So naturally, this number of age is not supposed to determine the state of your health. that the number age, chronological age, is not supposed to determine the state of your health or cellular aging of the human body, which I do not use it in my practice. But the biological age, which is the true age, refers to the body's biological functions at any age. How the person functions biologically, how the person looks, how the person feels or lives has no number. There is no such number for how you look, how you feel, how you function. I know you might go to the allopathic physician that give you a number of, chemistry or whatever, but that does not determine the biological age. Biological age also refers to as physiological age, that we should take many lifestyle factors into consideration, including nutrition, hygiene, level of activities, balanced emotions, mental state, thought process, sleeping habits, and other environmental factors. You cannot give a number to these characteristics. This age is calculated based on a person's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual conditions, because human beings is not only the earth body, we have mental body, we have emotional body, and we have a spiritual body. They always have to come into alignment, balance, and harmony in order to feel healthy, to feel balanced, and to feel good. When you're feeling good from within, you look good as well. That, sometimes you get compliments from people. So, and definitely you feel, if you feel not good from within and somebody's complimenting you, and they see that they're teasing you. But when you feel good from inside and somebody else is complimenting you, you see that you're in a balanced state. So biological age is the person's true age by nature. It's the only age I take it for myself and for the others. Use this age for healthy growing old. Degeneration and regeneration. So I always say, when we want to understand about aging, we have to understand, we want to kind of coming up with solution for anti-aging. We have to understand about aging fundamentally. So these are two sides of one coin, or two opposite poles of one phenomena, according to the second or third universal laws, that there is duality in the universe. Everything is dual. Like, for example, the water in room temperature is water, but you put it in the freezer, it becomes ice, and you can boil it and it becomes boiled water, but it's still in the nature. It's one phenomenon, it's just water. The same thing I refer to aging and anti-aging. You have to understand the process of aging. In order to understand regeneration, longevity, or anti-aging process, you must understand the opposite pole, which is the aging process, about how the human body degenerates and how we can prevent, stop, or reverse it at any age. People asking me, can you reverse aging? I said, absolutely. Preventing it is much, much better and easier. Reversing it is harder, but we can reverse it absolutely if we understand it fundamentally. We should closely investigate the nature of the human body to understand how to sustain the body's balance, harmony, and alignment at any stage of life, no matter the number of your age. Sorry. So my definition about regeneration and longevity is no to the chronic degeneration. We always go through an acute period of degeneration during catabolic metabolism, or the breakdown metabolism, which happens in the body all the time, but follows by regeneration during anabolic metabolism or building up process. These two metabolism, or to this process, should not be interrupted. That has to go, and catabolic metabolism has to follow by anabolic metabolism. Otherwise, the body stays at the degeneration state, and that's how aging happens quickly. I say no to premature aging or getting old. I say no to early and artificial deaths. And I say yes to restoration of health, which is the harmonious state of body, mind, emotions, and fundamental energy of life from within. People who come to me for aging, so the very first thing I ask, go, this is case taking for sometimes takes 3 to 4 hours. I talk about the mind states, the mental states, and the emotions that is a manifestation of their minds and everything. And I correct that one with my modality homeopathic medicine first, because all the bodies, they have to come into alignment in order to stop degenerations. It's not only give calcium, the supplements, you can stop degeneration. That does not gonna happen. All the bodies have to come into alignment. The quantum anti-aging, as I use it synonymously to regeneration and longevity, it means to awaken, activate, and support your body's healing ability to go through the natural cycle of renewal, regeneration, and longevity. Quantum anti-aging is a series of health strategies to prolong your quality of life from within, to sustain internal harmony, homeostasis, alignment, and balanced state in order to renew, regenerate, as you programmed efficiently and naturally at all times. We are programmed to go through regeneration and longevity. I had this talk in several settings, but they told me that we have the aging genes. Absolutely not. We have anti-aging genes. I would explain that at the end of my talk. That's the opposite of allopathic understanding and the natural way of understanding life. So we have anti-aging regeneration genes encoded in our genes. So when they talk about birthday, which is annual renewal, so this is an ancient thing. This is not new. Sometimes in Western society, they think that they created. No, they did not create it. It has been from the beginning of life that they always celebrate the annual renewal, which is birthday, because the entire human body is renewed almost completely in a cycle of 12 months or 365 days if they're not stopping at the degeneration state, if they follow the regeneration and a natural cycle as they programmed. So that's why the body's renewal is celebrated every year. We call it birthday. So but this serious question should be asked. So if the body constantly renews itself, why do some people age prematurely and some people age slowly and some don't age very much at all? So my answer to my questions and to my disciples and my people who I mentor, it's lying in my trinity of chronic disease. So aging process, it's very similar to a chronic disease. This is very similar to chronic degenerations. So I created trinity of the underlying causes of chronic disease, which completely applies to aging as well. One of them is chronic cellular deficiency or cellular starvations, because we do not have functional disease in human body, as unless it's traumas or physical accidents or something that happens quickly and acutely. But degeneration and chronic disease is always starts at the cellular level, not functional. No matter how much functional you're going to work on it and address it, is not gonna, it helps maybe temporary, but you cannot remove the disease or the cause from the origin, which is the cells. So the second one is chronic cellular intoxications. We are living in a world of toxins, so we are bombarded with toxins from externally and internally as well. People became so negative, so emotional. They go through a lot of stresses, unnecessary stresses. So this caused a lot of intoxications at the cellular level. And the third one is chronic cellular inadequate energy flow. But the main cause of deficiencies sometimes can be lack of or inadequate energy flow at the cellular level, because we are electromagnetic device. The whole human is an electromagnetic device, and with that electricity, with that electromagnetic, there is nothing gets into the cells and nothing gets out of the cells. I would explain it more in the other slides. So the first one, the first cause, cellular deficiencies, that is the main cause of degeneration or chronic disease. Over 90% of chronic diseases. Actually, I always say human body has only one disease, but thousands of manifestation of disease, but they call it disease. So it's a like a common term to use it, but I should use it chronic manifestations, but because it's a term that everybody using it, so I use the disease. 90% of chronic diseases or degeneration in human body are caused by the essential nutrients deficiencies, such as amino acids, essential fatty acids, water-soluble vitamins, fat-soluble vitamins, and especially minerals, and plus water and oxygen. But why, in the world of so much food around us, in the world of that so much food people eat, they still have cellular deficiencies? What's the problem here? So the process of aging is a chronic degeneration process similar to chronic disease I mentioned earlier. We're living in a deficient world. A lot of foods is at the table, but the foods are deficient. The food, they don't have essential nutrients to give us. And also, I'm going to explain to you later that so many other problems that human beings going through from digestion to assimilation, that how much they get it is the question. We're consuming too much of refined and chemically processed food, which is happening everywhere. Artificial food and additives, but not receiving the adequate essential nutrients. Minerals, vitamins, deficient fruits. So when I compare the apple now to apple that I used to have when I was a child, it's completely different. I think I'm having a kind of paper, something like it. Even they don't have taste, because the taste of fruits and vegetables come from minerals. They are mineral deficient. The taste is completely different, but they injected sugar water to them that you feel you taste sweetness in the fruits. But these are not fruits. They're local fruits, but not fruits for human beings. The vegetables, grains, crops, due to the modern agriculture, are so deficient. The topsoil is so deficient. Lack of natural bacteria to make the minerals bioavailable for humans and for plants. So much chemical fertilizers. Unfortunately, modern lifestyle became equal to unnatural living, and the high consumption of allopathic drugs, medications, and so much stimulants from young age, from the past kind of 120 years. And the society is becoming so sick. So deficiency in the world of artificial food. So we think that if you eat food, and unfortunately the meat is injected, the chicken is injected, fruits are injected with so many additives. They want to make the food more color. They inject color. They want chicken. They give a lot of antibiotics and a lot of coloring. Even they inject a lot of water into it, that the weight goes higher, increase the weight. They put a lot of water, sugar, and a lot of God knows what to the fruits. That's what it is, also malfunction and a slow digestion. Through my practice, I can say almost 90% of people, they have malfunction or a slow digestion, and they have weak nutrient absorptions, because these are all the jobs of digestion. A slow metabolism due to the endocrine system malfunction and insufficient cellular assimilations. A lot of oxidations, a lot of cellular oxidations. So the causes of deficiency are far many. So it cannot fit it into this presentations, but there are so many details that I can share, but not today. So a lack of energy flow at the cellular level is the main cause of cellular starvations. In regard to the trinity of the disease or aging that I mentioned in last slides, the cellular inadequate energy flow is killing human bodies because there is no such a thing. The gate of the cells always have to be opened by electromagnetic. So this happens. This electromagnetic it works with minerals. And the mineral deficiency at the cellular level does not create the electromagnetics to open up the gate of the cells in order the nutrients, even you have the nutrients enough, adequate enough, but the gate of the cells is not opening to get into, and because of the past degenerations. And also the toxins are trapped inside the cells and affecting the assimilations. And it's like a loop, it's like a vicious cycle. And unfortunately, that is happening over and over. That's why the only way to address the aging or degeneration is to work at the cellular level. Healthy cellular duplications and the cell renewal needs 92 essential nutrients on a regular basis. So on the daily, we need 92 essential nutrients. When I say essential, means the body cannot make them. The body makes a lot of them through our food. From smaller molecules can make larger molecules, but there are some that they are essential and we have to get them through food intact. So the body cannot make essential nutrients and they must enter to the body by proper food and nutrition. As you can see in my slide, 60 of these out of these 92 essential nutrients are minerals. It means 2/3 of all nutrients that the body needs for regeneration and renewal are minerals. 16 of them are vitamins, 12 water soluble, such as B complexes, and 4 fat solubles, such as A, E, D, K, and 12 amino acids, the basic unit of proteins, and 3 essential fatty acids, and water and oxygen. These are something basic that we need on daily basis. But look at the numbers: 60% of the out of 92 essential nutrients we need for regeneration or living healthy is minerals. Mineral deficiency is crucial around the world. It's killing people. The second cause of degenerations or aging is, as I mentioned, you're swimming in the world of toxins internally and externally. The homotoxins are produced through our body, through our metabolism, oxidation, the pH, acidic pH, uric acid, urea, nitrogen, ammonium, negative emotions, negative thoughts, anger. Anger is the great age contributor. It's the great age contributor. I would explain to you later if the time allows me, because anger affects the main organ that is our anti-aging organ, which I explain it later. Grief, traumas, constant stress, medications, recreation drugs, unnatural and processed food, smoking, inadequate oxygen inhaled, impure water, and too many chronic diseases during lifetime. It's creating a lot of homotoxins. And exotoxins, external toxins such as chemicals, pollutions, radiation, heavy metal in soil and water, excess electromagnetic radiation, geopathic stress, and many other environmental aggressions, which human body should not constantly be exposed to, which we are, all of us. We are electromagnetic device, but the electromagnetic devices that we use is dominating us. It's interrupting our natural electromagnetic. That's why we all have to be mind this. It's very, very crucial. Inadequate energy flow in deficient and intoxicated cells. So as I explained to you, nothing can get in, no nutrients can get in, and no toxins can get out when we don't have enough electromagnetic at the gate of the cells. Our brain, heart, nervous system, blood, and every system works with the electric currency in the body. Human electromagnetic flow at the gate of the cells must operate properly. We have to work on the cells. So the energy flow is playing a critical role in cellular aging. We have to fix that if we really want to stop degeneration and start regeneration. The human body cells are naturally programmed to renew and replace at their own natural cycles on a regular basis. So we have so many different cells, different systems, different glands, but they have different duration renewal cycle. For example, stomach 2 to 9 days, red blood cells 4 months, tongue 10 days, lungs 8 days, skin 14 to 30 days. Platelet 10 days, white blood cells 1 to 5 days, intestine 2 to 4 days, bones 14 days. Brain is lifetime, but the brain regeneration is whole different ball games, a whole different way of doing it. Female gamete is lifetime, sperm 64 days, and island cells lifetime. The longest is the liver, is 150 to 500 days. So I would like to talk about the DNA replication and duplications, because the whole regeneration is all about the DNA replication and duplications. If the body is constantly renewing itself, but why the body is aging instead of getting younger? So if we constantly regenerating, but why we're not getting younger instead of getting older? Human body has endowed by intelligence, wisdom, to heal itself at any given moment, unless our intelligence and wisdom is sleeping and is not activated. So that's why we have to think about that. We have to think fundamentally how to activate our intelligence. I'm not talking about intellects. Intellectual is different than intelligence. Intellectual is the information, all the knowledge that they're coming to you from outside, but intelligence is your pure knowledge and pure wisdom, which is endowed in you by nature. So your intelligence knows how to heal itself. Nobody has to tell the body how to heal itself. Nobody has to tell the body how to renew. Nobody has to tell the body, because the food that you eat turns to your cells, turns to tissues, tells to bones. Nobody tells the body what to do. The body has intelligence, and is doing it based on the program that is being from the beginning of life. So it knows how to heal itself, when to heal itself, and where healing is needed. We don't have to tell our intelligence what to do, as long as that intelligence is awakened. So your intelligence heals and renews you according to your genetic code, your DNA, and your blueprints. So when there is unhealthy cell division, DNA cells is always dividing, always DNA is always replicating, always cells is always duplicating. This renewal cycle never stops. But why people don't get younger? So cells divide and duplicate no matter the deficiencies, intoxication, and inadequate energy flow. No matter all these underlying causes, that program's going on. When the existing cells are not essentially well nourished, cells are starving. No, I'm not talking about eating. I'm talking about starvation at the cellular level. When the existing cells are full of toxins and then don't get an adequate energy flow, the DNA of existing cells becomes sick and mutated. This is so obvious. So mutated DNA prior to renewal replicate and duplicate the same cells. So then the new cells are mutated and sick as the original cells. So the renewal cycle is going on, but the mutated DNA is replicating and duplicating the same cells. So therefore, the new cells are the same as the mother cells. They become fragile, they become weak, they become degenerated and aged and die quickly. So as a result, the whole body ages quickly. We don't have the cells of the skin ages, but the cells of liver doesn't. The cells of lung ages, but the cells of kidney doesn't. No, the whole body works, supposed to work harmoniously. The whole body works synergistically, and every single condition happens everywhere. When the existing cells are essentially well nourished, when the existing cells are free of homotoxin and exotoxins, when the existing cells are receiving a proper and adequate energy to transfer nutrients in and remove toxins out, the new cells will be healthy, strong, regenerated, renewed, biologically function properly, and do not die quickly. It's so simple. When the cell's duplication continues in a healthy manner for 12 consecutive months, 12 consecutive months, when the body goes through natural regeneration, all the body cells are replaced and renewed. As a result, the entire body is renewed and maintained a state of health and harmony. This is the process of natural regeneration and longevity. When the DNA of the cells is intact, it will duplicate into new cells, which are stronger and healthier than the old ones, actually. That's when you become biologically younger. When the DNA is mutated and not healthy, it will duplicate unhealthy, weak, fragile, deficient, and sick cells. That will age more quickly. It's when the body easily ages. It's wholesome. A chromosome mutation is an unpredictable change. These changes are most often brought on by problems that occur during the process of cell division or by mutagens such as toxin and exotoxins. Detoxification is very crucial in to come out of degeneration states and enter to regeneration state. If you have my slides on my left, you see that the DNA chromosome is regenerating, and on the right, you see that the chromosome is degenerating. So you can see the difference between two cells, two chromosomes. So if the body goes through degeneration, that's how you're duplicating the same DNAs, and that's the reason that you age. So I always there are aspects and dimensions in human body. There is not only physical. So physical is the manifestation of the others. We always have to understand and study different aspects of degeneration. The aspect of degeneration from quantum level, as I mentioned earlier, adequate energy flow at the cellular level, which happens all over the body, that causes mistuning and disharmony between the biological body and non-physical or energy body. At this imbalanced state, the exchange of energy between the two bodies is disrupted and sometimes blocked, which causes an imbalance or misalignment between the two major dimensions of human body. So consequently, the body cells without adequate energy flow ages quickly. So a biological aspect of degeneration, which is at the functional level, cellular deficiency, as I explained, intracellular or plasma and extracellular matrix toxicity, imbalance or inadequate energy flow, hormonal endocrine system malfunction, body pH imbalance, body pH, continued catabolic metabolism instead of anabolic metabolism, internal systemic dehydrations, and internal systemic and cellular oxidations. Anatomical aspect of degeneration, what we see, it's first of all is bone loss, a slow bone metabolism, muscle atrophy, connective tissues breakdown, a slow tissue repair and healing, loss of elasticity and strength in connective tissues due to inadequate amount of two main protein fibers, collagen and elastin, and essential minerals such as calcium, silica, and phosphorus. You might have seen a tall, robust, large frame man in his 30s or late 20s or even 40s, but turns to a very short, weak, bent, a small frame in 80s it's the process of getting old. It's a process of degeneration and process of aging. This is not a process of getting old. We're not supposed to go through this process. As I made my disclaimer, so I'm not saying that it stay the same as 30 years, but this process is not a process of human body's regeneration. So when we see wrinkles outside the human body, always, as I always say, the outside or surface is the manifestation of inside. So there is always internal shrinking happen already in the human body that it manifests as a wrinkles on the surface. So aging and sickness have the same underlying causes with the similar biological process. I keep repeating it. The body gets sick, ages, and dies early because of the internal destructive processes or degeneration. On the other hand, the body heals, renews, and keeps regenerating due to the internal constructive processes. How we should switch from destructive to constructive? We have to understand fundamentally how human body works at all levels to turn it on and to switch it on. Aging, just like a chronic disease, starts at the cellular level. We don't have functional disease unless it's caused by accident, traumas of any kinds. Aging on the surface of the body is the manifestation of internal cellular degeneration. As I always say, skin is our largest elimination organs. Skin is our largest innate immunity. Skin is the largest protection, and is being kind of assaulted throughout lives because everything from within internally is going to be thrown out on the skin, and also the external aggressions also affects the skin. So this poor protections is trying its best to protect us at all times, but unfortunately it is what it is. But we have to understand how to take care of this kind of critical situations. Wrinkles on the skin are the manifestation of internal shrinking caused by bone loss, muscle atrophy, and loss of strength and elasticity of the connective tissues due to the main three underlying causes. So when you see people with a lot of wrinkles on their skin, the wrinkles does not happen if there is no muscle atrophy underneath. The skin is lying on muscles, and muscles are lying on attached to the bones. So if there is no atrophy, muscle atrophy, there is no bone loss, the skin is not going to collapse. If you see these two photos, two pictures on my left, see that the person is in a younger age. You see that there is no muscle atrophy, there is no osteoporosis, and we cannot detect wrinkles. And on my right, you see that if you look at the surface of the skin, you see it's far beyond wrinkles, and to the point that the skin is just kind of went to the atrophied muscles. So as you can see, the osteoporosis is very, very obvious. Muscle atrophy is very obvious, and the collapse of connective tissues you can see. So that's what I was talking about. Wrinkle just not happen on its own. It happens because of the internal shrinking. So I would like to talk about the big factor in our aging, so that affects our connective tissues at all times. It's gravity force, which nobody can escape from it, and we are exposed to it at all times, every single moment. It's gravity force. It's an important external aging contributing factor, and it's because it's constantly pulling us down, but we're raising ourselves on the surface of Earth, and we're always resisting towards this gravity force. As long as we are regenerating. The moment that we stop at the degeneration, gravity is pulling us down. That's why we saw the pictures on the previous slides that the person, when gets to 70 or 80 years old, is bending down towards gravity. It goes through towards gravity. That's how it is. But this gravity force, which is a very, very important factor, has to be neutralized at all times. But who's neutralizing this? That we can, raise ourselves on the surface of Earth and regenerate. So what neutralizes the human body, neutralizes the gravity, is the protein molecules and minerals. As I mentioned earlier, 60 essential oils essential minerals we have to take on a daily basis in order to regenerate. So minerals are very, very crucial, and also protein molecules. If you going deep to the connective tissues, see this protein molecules and minerals provides a rigid and a strong structure that enables the human body, plants and animals to raise themselves above the surface of Earth. The moment we have constant and chronic deficiencies at the cellular level from all those essential nutrients, such as amino acids, such as minerals, gravity is going to pull us down. All living structures on Earth, I'm not talking about Mars or any other planets. I've never been there, but all living structures on Earth that stretched upward are always built essentially around protein mineral frameworks. That's why in my practice, I address these two main essential nutrients in order to bring the person into regeneration. Protein and minerals are the two main essential nutrients for healthy body structure, regeneration, and longevity. So I would like to talk about connective tissue structures. The protein minerals is a lattice work or cross stripe arranged in a diagonal pattern, or like this. That's our connective tissues. So it's a form of diagonal pattern, but there are open spaces in between that they have to be filled by some other materials that keep us looking younger, such as hyaluronic acids, such as water, and other materials that will explain to you later. This lattice work is around the minerals that makes this lattice work are mostly calcium and phosphorus that are deposited to form the bones. So that's very important in connective tissues. The lattice work in the skin made by two giant proteins, collagen and elastin, which give elasticity to the connective tissues, and hyaluronic acid, the superhydrating hormone, which gives hydration to this lattice work. So bones is a connective tissue, skin is connective tissues. So we all need these materials. To neutralize the gravity, protein combined with minerals build a solid and a strong network against the Earth gravities. So I have seen people in their 75, 80s, and their heights, and they not necessarily their look, but their height is the same as I saw them when they were 4 years old. So you can see the shrinking of the older structure and the younger structure. You can see that there is a bone loss on my right side. There is bone loss. There is muscle atrophy. There is loss of strength and elasticity in the connective tissues. But on the left side, which is much younger, you see that we don't see these problems. So shrinking is also caused by the earth force and gravity when the above network are degenerating. This is very crucial and important to understand why people are bending towards the gravity. So it's when this network of lattice work, network of connective tissues are degenerating. I would like to get into my main talk about the factors, the internal factors of the aging. One of them is cortisol hormone. So my question is cortisol your friend or your enemy? Important internal contributors to the body's aging phenomena. One of main aging factor is hormone cortisol, or a stress hormone, which produced by the adrenal glands due to exposure to different stressors. Stress brings the body to a state of fight and flight response and makes changes to the body's equilibrium, homeostasis, and many different metabolic processes. Excessive or constant exposure to a stress would delay and sometimes block the process of regeneration and renewal. Avoiding unnecessary and constant stress would allow the body to heal, regenerate, and renew itself. So life is natural, living is an art. By living naturally, you can minimize the stress and you can constantly renew your physical body without exception. Cortisol is your rescuer, rescuing you in a small amount and in a short duration. But it's your enemy in a large amount in a long run. So I call it the aging hormone. The very first aging hormone is your hormone cortisol. The second aging hormone, actually they're equal to me, but I mean, the second one I want to mention is insulin hormone. Insulin is another aging hormone. Again, in a small amount or medium or moderate can save your life, but in a large amount can kill your cells. Another main internal anti-aging contributor factor is insulin hormone that made by beta cells of your pancreas that to use sugar or energy or store glucose for future energy needs. Is produced and excreted every time you eat. No matter what you eat, as soon as you eat, the insulin excreted, but in a high and large amount when you have too much of sugar and carbohydrates. The human body, the key of my talk is here. The human body renews itself only and only when your body is at rest. When I'm talking, when I'm eating, when I'm walking, when I'm exercising, the body does not regenerate. It's the truth of matter. Does not regenerate. Only the body regenerates at rest. That's why quality sleep is very important. And also resting during the day is important. It's the time that when you don't eat. As soon as you eat, the regeneration process stops. So that's why I highly recommend intermittent fasting for people who come to me that with a window of like 16 to 18 hours in order to let the regeneration process takes place and goes on. So, and also when you're sleeping, the time that you're resting, you don't eat and you're sleeping, your regeneration process starts and continues. The body does not regenerate when you're active. That's why too much of eating, especially sugar and carbohydrate, stress and distress, inadequate quality of sleep would surge the amount of insulin level and cortisol level, and consequently block the production of anti-aging hormones and interrupt, block, or stops the regeneration and renewal process. Insulin is your friend in a small or moderate amount, but your enemy in large amounts, because insulin functions the opposite of regenerations, especially the anti-aging hormone. I would explain to you. I would like to talk about a little bit, you all know, you're experts about the primary function of the liver. The reason that I want to mention the primary function, that liver does a lot. It's your project manager does a lot for you. And the same as the skin has been assaulted through lives. And because the most of the toxins goes through the liver. And it, for bile production, excretion, and enzyme activation, excretion of bilirubin, cholesterol, hormones, drugs, metabolism of fat, proteins, carbohydrates, storage of glycogen, vitamins and minerals, blood detoxification and purification, synthesis of plasma proteins such as albumin and clotting factors is all happening in the liver. But on the other hand, the liver is our anti-aging organ. The only organ that can function to the full extent when with 25% if it's cut, if through surgery or for damage or whatever, still if 25% of the liver left, liver works the same. And also in 150 to 500 days, it's going to grow back to the original size. That's why liver is very important in our regeneration and longevity, to keep it healthy and clean. The human body has an amazing anti-aging organ. Sorry, I'm just trying to talk fast. That's why I mess it up sometimes. So I don't want to just consume too much time. The amazing anti-aging organ is the liver. The liver is the factory of several regeneration and anti-aging chemicals. Hepatocytes, or liver cells, have a unique capacity to reproduce in response to injury. Regeneration of liver can occur after surgical removal of a portion of the liver and after injuries that destroyed parts of the liver. The liver is a metabolically active organ responsible for many vital functions. It's the human body's detoxifier. It purifies the wide variety of toxins and concomitants from our system on a daily basis. It renews itself with new cells every 150 and 500 days. Although the liver's ability to react to damage and repair itself is remarkable, but repetitive insults can cause liver failure and ultimately death. Liver health determines the person's biological age. The human body has an amazing anti-aging organ, as I mentioned. Liver is our body's project manager and constantly working at the job site for us. It's the only organ can regenerate and repair itself and grow back to the full size after injury or assault. As I said, 25% is enough for the liver to function. And liver makes anti-aging hormones. One of the main anti-aging hormones that the liver makes is called IGF-1. Insulin-like growth factor number 1 is the natural anti-aging hormones. So don't tell me we don't have the anti-aging abilities. We do have, because nature is endowed in us. It encoded IGF-1 genes in our system. We have the genes. IGF-1 stimulates your bone cells productions. If the bone doesn't, you don't make new cells, bone cells, you don't make new muscle cells, you don't make new connective tissue cells, you age. This is obvious. But IGF-1, it comes to our rescue, stimulates your muscles, your bone production. It repairs cellular connective tissues and rejuvenates the skin. IGF-1 stimulates production of glycosaminoglycans, which is another name for hyaluronic acid. It's a chemical names for hyaluronic acid. And still this one made by the liver. Hyaluronic acid is a negatively charged polymer and superhydrating agent. GAG, or hyaluronic, hydrating this network of connective tissues with protein and minerals in bones, in muscles, and skins. We need high amount of IGF-1 and high amount of GAG in order to stay younger and to regenerate and to look younger. So IGF-1 and GAG, there are two anti-aging hormones, as I mentioned earlier. Liver makes these two precious regeneration hormones. That's why the health of liver is very, very important and crucial through all chronic diseases and aging, because aging is a similar process as well. So IGF-1, also called somatomedin C. So it's another term for IGF-1. If you see it in some other literatures, is a hormone similar in molecular structure to insulin. The molecular structure is very similar to insulin. That's why they teeter-totter each other. So when insulin goes up, IGF-1 goes down. When insulin goes down, IGF-1 goes high. That's why insulin has to be in check all the time. The production of insulin has to be in the lowest amount only when it's necessary. So IGF has anabolic effect. IGF number 1 has anabolic effects on building up processes and constructive metabolism in adults. Without this hormone that's produced by the liver, all this anabolic effects is going to stop or going to linger or delay. So IGF number 1 is a protein that is encoded by the IGF number 1 gene in humans. We have it. So it increases when insulin decreases and vice versa. It's very crucial to take care of insulin level. So as I mentioned earlier, is it's repeated. So we are programmed according to the genes we have. We are programmed to regenerate from birth to death. The death is not supposed to be due to degeneration. So another hormone, growth hormone, that growth hormone from anterior pituitary gland and IGF number 1 from the liver, they're from the same family. They're from a straight family. Growth hormone, or GH, and IGF number 1, insulin-like growth factor number 1, are closely related to straight hormones, which stimulates bone growth, muscle repairs, and building up connective tissues.
Parvin, sorry to interrupt you. I request you to speed up the talk.
Okay, so then I cannot get into the my treatments. Sorry about that. Okay, these two hormones are. How much time do I have?
I think less than 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. When we are younger, growth hormone from anterior pituitary gland is in charge of our growth for the height and width. But when we are older, IGF number 1 from the liver takes the charge. So these two are from the same family. They do the same function, one for younger human body and one for older human body. So I'm not going to get into it anymore because I don't have time. So brain reduces production of growth hormone as we grow older. But what hormone is responsible for our regeneration in adulthood? As I mentioned, it is related. It's like the job is being, the task of regeneration is being kind of divided between two different hormones, younger from growth hormone and older from IGF number 1, because it stimulates the proliferation of cartilage cells, resulting in bone growth and muscle buildup and repair. So I think I don't have much time to explain the pathways. This is the main regeneration pathway that we have to work on it. In my practice is the main regeneration pathway that I work on it with homeopathic and orthomolecular nutrition as well. So this is something that's very important. So it's another slide. The very first thing that you have to address is the more fat is less muscle and bones. The more fat we have, the easier we go through degeneration. The less fat we have, we go through more muscles and bone regeneration. IGF number 1 and growth hormones are the molecular structure are the same, from the same straight family. The two hormones, and I kind of take into consideration. I don't do much about them, but because when I put the body into harmony, you know, and homeostasis, this ghrelin, somatostatin, they're gonna come into balance as well. And ghrelin is hunger hormone that has to be under control, and also somatostatin is a growth hormone inhibitor hormone. So the main anti-aging tips is definitely you gotta have the clean and detoxified liver. You gotta have high IGF number 1. You gotta have a high GAG, hyaluronic acid, and always consume high quality protein that the body can make collagen and elastin by fibroblast cells in the connective tissues, and keep insulin and cortisol in check. also neutralize the gravity force at all time by having enough protein and minerals combined. And the rest is easy to understand. So the general clinical anti-aging protocols, I always start my treatment with single homeopathic remedies as a constitutional remedy, no matter the aging or chronic disease. So I always have to bring the body into alignment and to balance homeostasis, and then go with the pathways protocols, pathway treatments with homotoxicology. And I use a lot of Schussler salts, homeopathic biochemical minerals, because especially detoxification and elimination needs a lot of minerals in order to take place. I use a lot of chemotherapy. I don't have time to explain them. I use trace mineral oligotherapy, and liver pathway is very, very important in my treatments, and also kidneys pathway. So these are all connected. And also liver, kidneys, skin pathway I work on. Whoever comes for aging or degeneration, I put them on this pathways. The cortisol balance and insulin balance is one of the key part of my practice. And also I work with homeopathic organotherapy to balance the endocrine and hormonal system. There are two different forms in homeopathic form. And also I give supplementation such as collagen. Definitely, if there is a need for fat soluble vitamin as required. I'm not a big fan of vitamins, but if the cases need water soluble vitamins or fat solubles, because I mainly kind of worked with food than supplements. If I don't have time, Mr. Nawaz, then in a break I can talk about the male anti-aging protocol, female anti-aging protocol, and internal advanced degeneration that I do, external advanced degeneration. I talk about my nutrition, that is the key to health, and also the general anti-aging home regimen that I give to people to take. And that's all. So the human body can slow down and reverse aging at any age and any time of life, because the body makes all the necessary materials to go through the regeneration process. It's the best, your body is the best pharmacy and manufacturer. So I'm not going to talk about my codes and also the course. So if I have time in my break during the conference, I'm going to talk about some of those that are missing. So thank you so much.